What's up, my little pretties? It's your mistress, the Queen of Lions here, and welcome back to another episode of Shaz and Pretties. This is episode 105, and today we are going to be doing another movie that I'm going to be reviewing today, which is going to be called Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey. Now, this is a Disney movie that is an adventure comedy film, a remake of The Incredible Journey, which that film came out in 1963, which yeah, and to be honest, this is based on the novel by the same name, The Incredible Journey or Homeward Bound. Now, I did not even know this was a remake of The Incredible Journey, but The Incredible Journey is basically, well, kind of the same as this one, except there are some differences, such as, well, the animals. Now, I have not seen the original remake of it, but I am gonna have to consider maybe taking a look at this. So this one has a Labrador Retriever. The Incredible Journey has Bo Bodger and the Bull Terrier, Lufa and the Labrador Retriever, and Teo the Siamese Cat. Now, in this one, Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey, this one is a remake that came out in 1993. So I'm not going to talk about The Incredible Journey because, well, it's basically almost the same thing. And I have not seen that one, so I can't really put my finger on it. But of course, this movie has a sequel to it, Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco, which came out in 1996, which is basically a sequel that takes place, after the first one. But I thought, you know what, I will talk about the first movie because, I decided why not, as a lot of people really decide to, I really like this movie. I found it to be really neat. So, anyways, I guess we should get started now. Basically, the plot is about Chance, who is a selfish and self-free-spirited American bulldog, and the narrator of the film explains that the pet of Jamie Burnford, but expresses interest in his owner or being part of the family, as he shares his home with Shadow, a wise old golden retriever, owned by Jamie's older brother, Peter, and Sassy, pampered Himalayan cat owned by Peter and James' sister Hope. So that morning, the children's mother, Laura Burnford, marries Bob Seaver, and Chance causes trouble by devouring the wedding cake right in front of all the guests. So shortly after the wedding, the family has to temporarily move to San Francisco because Bob must relocate there for his job. So they leave their pets at the ranch, which is belonging to Kate, and Laura's college friend, Shadow, college friends. So Shadow and Sassy miss their owners immediately, but Chance sees it as an opportunity to relax, to be free. But of course, later in the week, Kate goes on a cattle drive, leaving the animals to be looked after by her neighbor Frank. However, after half the message to him was lost, leading him to believe that she has taken them along with them, leaving the animals alone, unsure of the disappearance of the host. The animals fear that they have been abandoned, so Shadow, refusing to believe that it's the boy who leaves them, decides to make his way home, but not wanting to be left alone on the ranch. So Chance and Sassy decide to accompany Shadow on his journey. Now, by the way, I have this on VHS, and I'm remembering watching this movie on VHS as a young kid, so I'm pretty sure most of you guys remember this movie when you were a kid, especially if you were born in the 90s. You probably might most likely remember this one. So they lead into a rocky mountains of the wilderness in Sierra Nevada, with Shadow leading, and after a night of fear spent in the woodland noises, the group stops to catch breakfast in the river. However, two black bear cubs interrupt Chance, and a large brown bear causes the group to retreat and all at another river. Sassy refuses to swim across and follow the dogs. Instead, she tries to cross the wooden path further down the stream, but halfway across, the wood breaks and she falls into the river. Shadow tries to save her, but she goes over a waterfall to apparent death. As guilt-ridden, Shadow and Chance go on without her. Unknown to them, Sassy survives and is later found in the riverbank by an old man named Quentin, who nurses her back to health. So over the next 2 days, Shadow and Chance try unsuccessfully to catch food, and when they encounter a mountain lion, which causes them to chase them to the edge of the cliff, and Shadow gets the idea to have rocks positioned like a seesaw to outsmart the mountain lion. So Shadow acts like a bait and Chance pounces on the end of the rock and sends a mountain lion flying over the cliff, and Sassy hears the dogs breaking and barking in celebration and rejoins them. So the animals continues on the way, but Chance begins pestering a porcupine who ends up having loads of quills on his muzzle. So the animals encounter a little girl named Molly who ends up getting lost in the woods. Loyalty instincts takes over and they stand guard with her during the night into the morning, where Shadow finds a rescue party and leads them back to the girl. They recognize the animals from a missing pets and they take them to a local animal shelter. But Chance mistakes it for being an animal pound and a trio panic as the medical staff removes all the quills from Chance's muzzle. Sassy seeks in and frees Shadow, and together they retrieve Chance and they escape from the shelter, unaware that their owners are on their way to get them. So finally reaching to their hometown, the animals cross through an old train yard where Shadow unfortunately falls through a muddy pit and injures his leg. Despondent as he tells Chance and Sassy to go on without him, near dusk, Chance and Sassy finally make it back home and they're reunited with their owners. But Shadow instantly fails to appear, but eventually he limps into view and happily comes running at the sight of Peter as Chance narrates how it was Shadow's belief that it brought him home. Now the ears seem to lift off, making them a puppy again as he reunited with the boy. So the film ends with Chance missing on how good feels to be good home with his family before running into the house to get some food. So I would have to say this movie, Homeward Bound, was a really well-made movie, especially made in the 90s. Like, I've seen some other movies that were pretty good in the 90s, but I actually really found Homeward Bound to be a really good movie. So, like, I know this is like a remake of The Incredible Journey, but I'm not reviewing that one until I see it, because that's like the original version before, Homeward Bound came around, which there are a lot of differences that, if you look at Incredible Journey and then the Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey, you'll notice the differences are in these animals. The differences, like Shadow was named something else and was a Labrador Retriever. Chance was like a bulldog but had a different appearance, and same with Sassy. They had different names and different appearances of those characters, so it was why there was like certain reasons why they actually looked very different. Now, when I saw this movie as a kid, I honestly really liked how it all went out with the plot and all that. I really loved this movie as a kid, and I really do find it to be a well-made story. It was absolutely beautiful, and I really would have to say that I actually found this one to be quite amazing, to be honest. Like, in the making of Homeward Bound, I know it's kind of like very something, but surprisingly, to be honest, 27 animals, including goats and sheep, were found to be perished from dehydration, exhaustion, or drowning from a New Zealand farm during the filming. So that's very surprising, as an elderly giraffe during the movie's production run. And yeah, so like a couple animals did die while they were, filming, which is very unfortunate. But with real animals, I think they use CGI animation, but this was way before they did that. And since this was made in the 90s, they didn't really, animate the animals into CGI. Who knows? Maybe there might be a remake of it where they finally decide to sit there and make the characters, CGI animated. Who really knows, to be honest? There could be a remake of the movie in like a couple years or so. That might be the case, but I really don't know. Like, it's really hard to say. Like, who really knows? Disney is like really, really, very something when it comes to these kind of movies. So, okay. Now, the film received a positive reception, and the film holds like at least a dedicated critic approved rating of 87% as Rotten Tomatoes based on the 30 reviews, with the consequence stating that Disney's remake of Incredible Journey successfully replaces, but in some ways improves upon. So simple charms of the original with its cross-country animal audacity to ensure it delights according to the movie critic Nick, the movie itself was like frankly designed for kids, and yet certain craftsmanship in the charm. So yeah, I really do have to say that I really do find that this was actually pretty well made. Now, there is a book based on The Incredible Journey, which came out in 1961, which was written by Sheila Burnford, who actually, wrote this story. And the plot is basically, but there's a couple differences. So, in the original book, which was called The Incredible Journey, the animal's owners and the hunters have to go to England for several months because of Jim, who is the father who is scheduled to have a series of university's lectures there. So they leave their pets in the care of John Londridge, a family friend and a godfather of their daughter Elizabeth. So John leaves for a 2-week duck hunting trip. The animals, feeling like the lack of their human helpers, they set out to try to find their owners. So the hunters and Miss Oakes, who have been taking care of Londridge's home, does not find the animals that thinks that John must have taken them, and the animals show their instincts and head for the wild, and they head towards home. So this is actually, surprisingly, in the book, takes place in, for the Canadian wilderness. They face many obstacles in path, but then they're irritable people, but they struggle bravely, and they finally reach home. So basically, the Incredible Journey story is kind of based on this movie, but it's a little different. Now, with the plot of this movie is kind of like almost the exact same, taking place in, Canada, which that's what obvious when Homeward Bound, the original movie and the book, which I've never read the book, but I am going to say Lost in San Francisco, which takes place, like a sequel to the first film. However, Shadow, the original voice actor for Shadow, unfortunately died in 1993 after the movie came out. So, Ralph Waite had to, replace the voice for Shadow. Now, there's like certain people who did, the works and all that, which I really would have to say that the second movie, I have not seen the second movie yet, but I would have to say, I think the second movie was not as great as the first movie, but I would have to say I prefer the first movie overall because, I have not seen the second movie yet, so that I'm definitely saying that I have not seen the second movie yet, so I can't really have an opinion on it until I see it, but I really prefer the first Homeward Bound movie. It's a great story. The fact that we all thought Shadow died was honestly really heartbreaking and sad. So I'm sure a lot of kids must have cried when they saw that scene as a kid. They must have been crying at this point. I'm staying that down. They must have been in tears. And yeah. And even I was in tears when I first saw it as a kid. Even my mom was, when she first watched this with me. But nevertheless, I haven't watched this movie in years. So I'm going to have to consider watching this movie again, although I haven't seen that movie in years. Now, don't ask me to do The Incredible Journey, the original one, because I have not seen the original one yet. But until I've seen the original one, I will consider making a Shadows and Pretties episode based on that. But that's just a different story. I really do like some of the, the content that was in it. Basically, having, a really great plot. I know Disney's never done that at the time, but this is actually a pretty good concept for what this is. I really do find this one to be, amazing, well done, enjoyable. I just really found this one to be a pretty good movie. Although I'm going to have to rewatch it again because I haven't watched it in years. But anyways, what did you guys think about this movie? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this movie a lot better. Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you're new to my channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, I will catch you all in the next video, and I'll see you all later.